Welcome back to another tutorial. If you want to get this monthly budget planner for free, you will find the link in the description. Keep watching to learn how this planner works, and how you can change it and customize it, so it fits all your needs. Let's start by giving the whole sheet one style. To do this, click the top left cell that lets you select the whole sheet. Then choose the font you like, center the text, and click Wrap Text. This will let all the text fit inside one cell. Now we can move on to making our first table, Summary, where we will add up all our income and expenses. To do this, we need to merge 5 columns, starting from column B. We need this many columns because we want our budget planner to work with many currencies, so we need a separate column just for the currency. We need a budget section and an actual section, and each one should have 2 columns. In the first column, Category, we type all the categories we want to track in our sheet: income, expenses, bills, debts, and savings. Next, at the top of the sheet, we merge cells and type the name of the current month. At the bottom, we type the name of the sheet, Monthly Dashboard. A bit lower, we make a table where we will enter the start date, the end date, and our currency. We merge cells and drag them down. Now we make the real table for our income. Again, we create the columns Category, Budget, and Actual. At the end of this table, we add a total row, where we add up all our income. Next, we select the whole range of this table, press Ctrl+C to copy the whole table, and paste it below with Ctrl+V. This becomes the table for our savings. We just need to change the title of this table. Next, we move on to another table, Expenses. It will look a lot like the tables before, but this time we also add a column with checkboxes. Later, we will add conditional formatting to these checkboxes. Here too, we create the Category, Budget, and Actual sections. Then we make the Bills table. It looks just like the Expenses table, but a bit shorter. Remember to add a total row at the end of every table. To make the columns the same width, hold Ctrl and click to select the columns you want. Then set the width of one column, and all the other selected columns will change to match it. A bit lower, we also make the debts table. Now let's move to the visual part of our sheet. Let's start at the top. To make the month name stand out a little, let's make it bigger and change the font. Next, we go to the table below. Of course, we change its color and add borders. Now we want the start date and end date to open a small calendar when we pick a date. To do this, click Data, then Data Validation, then choose Is Valid Date, and that's it. Now, if you double-click that cell, a small calendar will pop up, and you can pick a date from it. We still don't like the date format, so let's change it. Click Format, then Number, then Custom Date and Time. Here you can choose exactly how you want your date to look. Now, in the currency row, we type a $sign. But later on, we want to have a drop-down here with many currencies to choose from. Now let's make the summary section look better. Remember, it's best if each section has its own color. Don't forget to add borders too. Now for income. It's nice if the color reminds us of money, so we make it green. The table title should also be bigger and bold, so it stands out. We do the same for all the other tables. Now let's turn off grid lines for a moment to check how our final planner looks. And here we can already see that we forgot to add borders to the debts table, and it already looks messy. Let's turn grid lines back on. Now let's add checkboxes in the right places. We select the range where we want the checkboxes, click Insert, then Checkbox. Now we can change how the checkboxes look a little by changing their color and size. Now, in all the total cells, we want to show our currency, so we enter the formula you see on the screen. Next, we enter another formula that lets us calculate total left, which is income minus all expenses. Next, we move to the income section. Here too, we first enter the formula for the currency, and then we can type in the category names for income. Here we change the currency formula a little, because we want the currency to show up only when there is a category in column B, so change the formula to the one you see on the screen. Then copy this currency column and paste it into the budget column too, so it works the same way there. Then, in the total row, we add up the whole range of our income. We do the same for all the other tables: savings, expenses, debts, and bills. Now we want to make our summary table a bit more automatic. To do this, we connect it to all the other tables, and enter cells that copy their totals, for both budget and actual. Now we can test if our sheet works correctly, and type in some example data for both budget and actual. Now we move on to the part where we make charts. For this, we need to build a small helper table, where we enter the category names and the budget and actual amounts, without the currency. Next, we select the whole range, click Insert, then Chart. We can change our chart a little, turn off grid lines, change the color of the bars, and so on. This part can be your own creative choice. We also want to add a light border around our chart, so it stands out from the rest of the sheet. Next, let's build a chart that shows us total left. To do this, we merge cells and enter the formula you see on the screen, so both the number and the currency sign are shown. Next, we also make a small helper table for this chart, where we write, spent, and left. We want the left amount to be visible under the chart, so we set the chart to have a transparent background, keeping only a light gray border. Next, we change the colors of the pie chart and resize it to fit the merged cells. Next, we hide the columns that held our helper tables. Because of this, we need to make a small fix for the charts. Click to edit each chart, then click Include Hidden and Filtered Data. We do this for both charts. Next, we delete all the rows that have no data. Now we want to add conditional formatting to our checkboxes. This means that when we check a checkbox, the whole row turns gray, and the text gets a strike-through line. In the formula box, type the formula you see on the screen. We repeat this for every table that has checkboxes. Now let's move to the part where we add dropdowns for the currency. So we unhide the columns we hid earlier, and we make a table with all the currencies we care about. Then click Insert, then Drop Down, and select the table where you have your currencies. This way, you can pick the currency you want from a list. And that's everything. If something is not clear, let me know in the comments. I'm happy to help.